and then he'll go like this, and I'll stand back to be like, ooh,
Is
yeah.
that oobleck or Play-Doh, or what is it?
Cinema.
I know. For
All
real.
right, so we're officially live, for what it's worth. So,
I'm being
so some
perceived.
quick things. So I did bring 5 sets of dice. Donna has chosen hers. Which one did you choose? And you get to pick one of these as well for you to take with. I've meant to do this in the past, but this is the first time I remember.
Oh.
So you can open them up and decide which design you like. You don't necessarily. We can swap the bag. So you can mix and match. So if you don't like the colors, you can do the same thing. But yeah, so the fast version, just to jump in while you guys are enjoying your dice. We have 3 of our D&D club members here. Actually, all of you are on the Council of Presidents, right?
We are.
Yeah.
The president.
So 3 of our
I am
presidents.
the president.
I am the
I am
president also.
I am no.
We are both
and you guys
the
do have
president.
We are
mics,
one half of
so
the
we can make
president.
sure
Yeah.
just clip
Our
it
brain cells combine.
I'm killing
somewhere
the
around
president.
I'm the other friend.
and it should be fine. But yeah, so we have 3 of our council presidents, and we have 2 of our Chandler Gilbert Community College professors in the natural sciences. Right? That's I didn't get the division wrong. You guys are called, yeah, right, yeah, right. No?
Physical science.
Oh, you're okay. So
Physical sciences and engineering.
I did that last time too. Yeah.
What's the difference
Okay.
between physical science and natural science?
Natural's more life.
Yeah,
Natural's
like biology.
cooler.
Biology.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
I
failed.
mean, I think,
So, but all that to say,
I don't think we have a natural sciences division.
Am I in frame?
no, I think I just named it wrong. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I should
have
know
those,
though,
though.
because yeah. Physical
Physical
sciences.
We're talking about AI, which I think is part of our
Yeah.
division. That's beneficial, so.
Yeah.
Sciences.
The science, yeah.
Science.
So I'll let you guys just introduce yourselves. That way I don't misname anybody or miss anything.
Anything.
Yeah. So we'll let Donna go first because she's been here before.
Sure. So I'm Donna, Viola. I'm astronomy faculty here at Chandler Gilbert. I've been here, this is my 3rd year. But my background is mostly in astrobiology and planetary science. So all things space nerd.
Nice. Very cool. And then which set of dice did you choose for fun?
It's got a dragon on the bag and like all these sparkly
What?
colors
Very cool.
here. So
Good.
kind of looks like a galaxy in a dice.
I like it.
That's
Very cool.
awesome.
I am Heather Moll. This is my 3rd month here. No,
Fourth?
fourth.
Oh, yeah. Because we started before the semester started.
right?
Yeah.
So 4th month here.
Yeah.
But I've been an adjunct since 2011 and all the other campuses. I teach physical geography. That's the physical science part. And I'm trained in geography, anything to do with earthquakes, volcanoes, atmosphere. We can go on forever. Lots of
Yeah.
biggies.
That's awesome.
Cloud seeding. I've heard a lot of this about recently from
Tom,
people who are in your class related to me. Cool. Well, and I'm Greg Fields. I teach writing, and I'm the club advisor for D&D. And the hope today. So messed up. I'm sorry. Around these parts, what do you prefer I call myself, or what do you call me?
No, it's
Yeah.
I just had no idea.
Gregathan, Gregcellency, I think, are the
His
things
Gregcellency
yeah, that's
is
what they
usually
like
what
to
I
call
go for.
But
I came up with it, so
Dr.
naturally I think it's a lot more
Gregory
clever than everybody else
Why
does.
would you
I like
know?
You didn't ask what
Everybody
dice
knows
they
what
chose.
your name
Oh,
is.
yes. What dice did you have you had a
Oh,
chance to
I
select?
think
That's true. Thank
I
you.
like this one.
See,
We'll see what it is.
this is one.
Scorpion.
those
Oh,
are
that's
fun ones.
awesome.
Nice.
So, and yeah, scorpion.
Like clouds and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clouds
I
in the
like
sky.
it. That's cool. I dig it.
Kind of matches my shirt. It's beautiful.
Oh
Very cool.
Well, thank you so much for the day.
Yeah. So the hope here today, aside from just having fun and nerding out in a variety of ways, is kind of thinking about like the science of science fiction fantasy, science and story, and so kind of exploring what kind of real life anchored science can inform, or what happens if we take a tiny bit of science and break it for fun, especially in ways that will make you cringe. Like if that's one of the.
I could
It's
think of
not a
many
goal, but it might
Like a
happen. It's not a
bad
goal,
question.
but
Just
it
let
might
me open my
happen.
mouth.
Going around
Um,
Maybe this is the thing, my therapist and
Yeah, well, remember,
don't
these
worry
are
about that.
artistic renderings.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
in outer space.
Um,
Anything can happen in
That's
outer
true.
space.
So things to remember.
Anything, lots of physics
No, I
still
think
exists.
anything.
No,
can
anything.
happen.
So when you're world building, one of the big things is that when you're creating your own world, could very well be a completely separate universe. That's important to, but we'd like to
They're
we'd
only
like to
the
have some
laws
fun
of
with it.
physics until someone does something that's not physics.
Yes, and it's magic.
Laws exist
I will
until
s-
they're not convenient.
My family will tell you that I have not always prioritized geography, that it was playing D&D and trying to world build for tabletop gaming that made me care how mountains and things formed and why weather happened, because I'd be like having people roll D100s and I'm like, wait, what part of this country, is there a coast nearby? That feels like that should matter. And so of all the things that I've nerded out in the past, it hasn't been until D&D that geography was one of them. That's part of the reason I was excited to have you. Plus I saw the cool lab that you guys did with all the little mini map
Topographic.
things. Yeah, the topographical map. So,
Yes, I want to back.
Did you bring your maps?
so
It's in the cupboard. Just let me know.
Did you bring your maps?
Which ones?
The one you made.
Which ones?
The ones you made
Oh,
with.
the ones for my project?
Yeah.
No.
That would have been
I'm
fun.
bringing them on Monday.
okay.
sorry. Next week, Monday.
Are there so do you guys have any questions for us about tabletop gaming yet? Because Donna played a game with us last year. It was very short
women
and
game.
fast,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was like the best
Our
I could
women
do
game.
for Women's History Month is
women
to try and run a game. It's the lamest. I'm like, it's the lamest thing I could do, and I wore pink, and I'm like, I don't know what else, like that's all I got for you guys. I am
Which
the
is even
worst,
worse.
but it was better than nothing.
Because you inflicted gender roles on women's history.
No, I didn't. I wore pink, which
Yeah.
never mind.
Which
We'll
is
move on.
inflicting gender roles.
I apologize the day of, but this
it's
is.
okay.
So I guess, are there starter questions that you have as you're kind of beginning to think about this?
Well, I mean, it's been an eternity since I've played.
Yeah. What is your experience? Maybe a good place to
One
start.
or two nights. That was
Okay.
about it.
So you got dragged in by friends, or
Yeah, suddenly it was at my house and we were playing tabletop gaming. I think it was Dungeons and Dragons. And I remember, I think I was either an elf or a rogue or something. I remember, but this is over 15 years ago,
Okay.
or maybe more actually.
It's okay. We don't have to. It was back in the.
back in
It was
the
back there.
Other eras.
Okay. Is there anything memorable from that you like still hold on to?
It was fun.
Okay.
I would do it again. if
You felt the fun of it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Very
Did
Cool.
you hear that?
Well,
She would do it again.
I heard
means
that.
We have to run another
So-
teacher game.
Or
now.
like first, like
Today,
students aren't the
let's
only
do
ones
it.
who can jump in games.
I know,
I'm
I
just
know.
the only professor who does. Actually, technically, Justin Sheets came by because he's considering like stepping in a day a month to help. So which you guys are welcome to do for fun. You're not required to do, obviously. But like, yeah. So other professors like have covered me by just grading in the back corner sometimes. But yeah, that's right. And Sam and Bio. But it was fun. That's always a good place to start. What's your background? Let's do this. What's your background with stories? Like, do you have a favorite genre if you're not reading for research purposes? What's your funsy reading?
I do fantasy and magic and paranormal.
Okay. What's a recent book or favorite book?
Only problem is I have a Kindle, so I never see the cover anymore.
That's
So you don't
true.
remember-
So I never
That's
You don't remember the
Yeah.
title? You just
No, I don't.
characters? Favorite character? Someone will know it, even if I don't.
Yeah, one
They
of our
might
4
know.
viewers.
Because
You know,
3 of
Jen?
the 7
That's
are
my
in here. Is that what
favorite
you're thinking?
I don't know.
All right, cool.
What sort of fantasy type do your books usually lean toward? Is it more of like taverns and like dragons, or is
I
it more of like
bounce.
yeah?
So I've done like historical, where I've gone as far back as medieval times to 1800s. Gone anywhere. Then I get bored with that, and then I'll go
Yeah.
to space.
Absolutely.
And then see where that leads me. Like I've read some of the Star Trek books. I've read
Oh.
Star Wars books.
Nice.
So any of those kind of aspects.
Absolutely. That's
Have you read the
awesome.
Doctor Who books?
I have not.
I've been
dived
thinking
into
about
Did they start out as books?
Doctor Who yet.
I don't know. I think they were written
think
based
so.
on the show, but
Yeah.
probably.
I've been thinking
pretty
about
sure.
reading those.
You should.
Yeah, I should, shouldn't I? What a commitment.
I know, right?
Well, Donna, do you have any science fiction or fantasy books that you're able to put up with?
That's right for reading for fun. I just don't seem to have anymore.
Yeah.
A little bit
It's
in the
tough.
summer, but like when I was reading a lot more regularly, like I certainly did a lot of science fiction and fantasy. Like in high school, I got really into the Wheel of Time.
Oh,
Yeah,
And then
that's a
followed
good
it all the
series.
way through until the end.
You read
And
all 14, 15?
all the-
I just did that like 3 years ago for the first time. So that's okay. So you have read all the Wheel of
I've read
Time.
it's been a long time.
Okay.
I don't remember. There's so many characters.
Yeah,
so many
that one's-
details, but
I
it's like,
started it, I
that
haven't
was,
gotten through it.
yeah.
I
It
was-
got into a really formative time, and so it's like I had to finish it.
what resonated with you about that book that made you want to read all?
Yeah, because
15?
there's a lot in that epic
You would
fantasy
have to like
stuff,
something really,
especially
like-
him. Robert Jordan's a big writer.
I think I liked the strength of the female characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I loved all of like
Yeah, definitely.
all that stuff. Like the Eyes to Die, like that whole thing. I was like,
Yeah.
that would be so
Yeah.
cool.
Just the whole time you're like rooting
Right.
so hard.
Yeah, and there's certainly some characters like, okay, oh my gosh, we're back to this person. I'm just like, I'm gonna read it, but I can't wait to get back to like my favorite characters.
Absolutely.
There's always something you can latch on to with
Yeah.
stuff like that. And just like the epic storytelling and like the world of it all. Like I also love just looking at the maps in the book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love when you open the first page, I'm like, there's a map!
Yeah, like
That's what I do when I'm
It's the
looking
most
at books.
exhilarating feeling.
If there's a map, I'm sold.
Warrior cats.
Yes, exactly.
And you told me when I mentioned that we pulled Heather in, you mentioned that and actually it may have been that I was saying how proud I was of Noella and where I thought she could go. I was excited for her about next semester's classes.
Frightening thing
You
to
told me
say.
that you had mapped things out of this world.
What?
Oh yeah, you can make maps of things with surfaces. So I did a lot of mapping geomorphological features on the surface of Mars, like basically my PhD research. So you basically take the satellite images of Mars. You
I know
put
what
it
I'm
into a
doing.
GIS program, right? I use our GIS, QGIS, all these little programs that we can use for Earth. You can also, you tell it what planet you're looking at. You can figure out how you project those images onto that world, and you can just draw different features that you see and make maps and do data collection on it.
Absolutely. That sounds like so much fun.
Maybe that's well, it sounds like you guys both like maps, and that is a core element of like one of the most interactive things. Like you can have a lot if the map, like some people, there are videos and videos and videos of like really well made maps that are meant to hide storylines and all this and different ways of developing those. I tend to find the ones that I can find and then have them printed. I did get like a Stable Diffusion AI generated like set of maps that was like 1,000, and now so that's what some of mine are. But mapping is a big part of the experiential side of the game, and in the world building side. What about maps? And we'll say around the table. So if you guys have things to weigh in on here, what about maps? Is what makes them cool in your mind? Either for gaming or for science.
We're starting right here.
Are we starting with Killian?
Killian hasn't talked yet, so it's like, let's just
All right, yeah.
Oh no, I have to say something. Personally, I'm a big fan of examples like this map where you have these little names of all these locations that tell you something, give you kind of like a vibe to work with, like the Burrows, what is this, the Happy Beholder, the Dry Dock, and then this little tavern, the Man of War. I don't know, I really like that when they have all these weird little names. It gives you like a kind of like before you even know what the place is really about, you can kind of guess the vibe that it's going for.
Okay.
your turn.
I guess we're going around the table. It seems like, yeah.
There's so many things that a map can tell you because you can use it to go to places and figure out how you're going to go to the place, but also the way that they name things and like how the map and the streets and stuff are laid out are like based on the features of like the land, and you can tell a lot by like the people that live there based on the buildings and the city layout and what they name things and what buildings there are.
And like how well they integrate into the existing flora, fauna, and geographic features.
Yeah,
Okay.
how much they value the nature also.
In real life, I'm a nerd for really, like, I like Arizona because it has a
The
very
grid.
gridded system, but I don't like Arizona because the parking lots are not designed ergonomically. But so I think you could
Don't
tell,
even get me
you
started
could have
on the
world
parking
building
lot.
based on how well the streets are designed.
So does this parking lot drive you crazy, or is this good parking?
What are you laughing at?
In this case, I don't know, it'd be like, so it's like when you go in and you go into the corner of like there's a McDonald's or a gas station, and it seems like the easy thing would be to have a little 8-foot drive to get to fries and everything else. But no, you have to go out on the street and back in. Things like that
That's
drive me
true.
crazy.
Yeah.
Or like you're going, it is one of those bigger parking lot, shopping center parking lots, and you'll have a random median.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like this, and it goes, and it never has a pass
And you
through.
gotta go all the way down to the end.
Yeah.
and around
Just
the
drive over the thing. I mean,
That's what Nola does.
who's gonna know, honestly? Unless there's
The
a
tire
police
marks
officer
says
right
in
there.
the
This will make
Yeah.
you-
Unless there's someone right there.
I'm hearing sirens.
Where in the police book does it say you can't drive over the thing to get to the Goodwill
I'm
parking
sure there's
lot?
a spot.
Kaylee, what do you think? I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry. Go ahead.
So not only are just maps fun, which is a given, obviously.
What makes them fun?
I think it D&D mainly works in its base form in the theater of the mind kind of format. So it's like the DM setting the scene. You're in a forest. There's you're in the middle of nowhere. There's not really any towns around you. There's a road to your left or road a few feet up, like that kind of thing. It's a lot of description. And while it is fun to like imagine your own thing, sometimes maps are a really, really good like physical representation of where you are and can immerse you farther. I can only really speak to the D&D aspect of what maps do for D&D, but it becomes a really useful immersive tool for DMs a lot of the times, because like my friend said here, like it gives you the vibes, it gives you the names. Like this is, especially when you're playing characters who have lived here or know their way around here or have a map of this place, they would know things about it that you as the player without a physical representation might not know. Like for example, I might not know this town has a tavern because it's farther into the town, and when the DM was explaining what was around me, it wasn't there. So, but if I had a map in front of me, I can be like, oh, there's a town there, there's a church to the far left. Like, I have more knowledge than a person could possibly like describe to me. And I think that can really be an important, like a really fun and useful thing in a game. Especially when you're like a player and you're just, as the game's going on, you're constantly thinking like, what can I do? What's a good strategy if you're in like a place to do that? Or like, what would be interesting for the story? It can just open a lot of doors, I think, in conclusion.
Nice. Cool. What do you guys like about maps? Not necessarily connected to gaming, obviously. So.
I think for me, I tend to think very spatially. Like I want to have the map in my head of where I am. Like I'm in a new place, I want to look at it. I want to know like what's the layout, where are all the things, where can I find what I need, that kind of things. Yeah. So.
Instead of the description of 15 feet to your left, there's a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how big a
I draw
foot
out the
is.
maps in my head. Like I kind of get to know a new place and kind of figure out where everything is. But like I have a
I'm gonna guess
maps,
that.
and I cleaned out. I got a new car over the summer. I cleaned
That
out.
seems pretty good.
It's bigger than that.
15
Are you
years
sure?
worth
It's
of
gotta be
old
like
maps.
that big. Like a whole ruler
States
size.
and
Yeah, but I think
Oh,
that
did
was
you have
good.
like
all these paper maps that I had.
like the
Yeah.
AAA maps and things? Yeah.
Like, so like all of this stuff, you know, just kind of collected over the years of all these different maps.
Did you guys get Did you guys get distracted by?
Sorry.
Did you
Neither
hear
of us
what
know
Donna
how
was
big a
saying?
foot is.
Okay. Also, there are people commenting in the chat about.
people
There's people commenting.
Yes,
Oh my god.
but so far no significant questions yet,
Oh.
or no questions yet.
Whoa!
wow.
Shots fired.
I shouldn't have said it that way. Well, I'm sorry. Contextualized questions. It says what type of maps? All types of maps. So that I think we got there. Yeah.
Who is it? Can we give
So,
a shout out?
It is Artistic Dragonborn, which I think is Viola, Mo Homesteading, and those two for sure. So I think I saw
Shout out
multifaceted
Viola
Yo
and
as well. So
Homesteading.
all cool kids. But yeah, okay. So you cleaned out all the old maps. This is also something that my wife, like, she used to be so excited about road trips and like having the maps from AAA to order when we were traveling across country, and then now she's like, she can't decide how she feels about having it on the phone because there was something to the experience of having a map. So
Yeah, like even today, if I go to like a national park, I want that physical paper map with all of the trails and things.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I keep opening it up and I'm like, where am I going to go next? And I
Zoos,
plan my route
Disneyland.
Using like the physical paper maps, it makes it
I need
more
two.
tangible.
One that can go into my folder and doesn't get touched,
Yeah.
and then one I can burn to shreds,
Yes.
because I'm looking for it. Yeah, that's my problem too. I definitely like it. And I like the triptychs. That's, I think, what got me into geography. Is when mom and dad would go and do things, I would be the navigator. And so I'd have to be like, and then of course my dad would be like, let's add math to this. So Heather, if we have this much time today and this speed, I'm like, I don't want to do math.
Turn into homework.
Yeah, it turned into homework
Just
while
let
we're
me look at
driving
the
to
map.
grandma's house over the summer. But like these maps, it reminds me of when you go to the old diners in small little towns and their placemats
Oh yes, those
are
are
the
so
map of the
cute.
city. And like I'm always looking which way's north, and then I gotta like orient to the placemat. But I mean, the color on this one is magnificent. It reminds me I have not done the lesson in ages, but mathematics, back see, it's his dad's fault. When you look at a political map, no two colors are right next to each other. And that's actually a mathematical equation. When you're designing the map, the cartographer will make sure. And so I was trying to, can I pull this?
yeah.
I don't want to mess up anything.
No, you're all
Crash.
Wizard.
I have a pseudo camera up there, but it's gonna point at what it's gonna point at, so you're all good.
Okay. But no, I was just looking because
Oh my God.
they colored the roofs. So I was wondering if that had a significant to
Like
maybe
in the world building, or
Yeah, in the way they built this is, because, well, there's not many roofs over there. There's lots of trees. But I was looking at that going, okay, did they do the color, but then, I mean, there's a purple house. Like, who, is that because that's the juggler's house? He uses purple,
There's no
I don't
HOA.
right? I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason. But those are the kind of maps I like. I will admit, I've got a world map in my office at home. Here, I've got 3 or 4 maps hung up in my. I'm the one that will go buy maps.
Well, and I think we've been, so Yolanda and I went to like Merchant Square, and I think she gets to like send pictures in. But like I nerd out about maps from a writing perspective for the same reason I nerd out about the periodic table. It's like there's so much
Yes.
information encoded here.
Yes.
Like this is a whole form of communication, and so it's one of those things. Like I think sometimes it's like there's so much technical information. So on the technical writing side, I'm like, anytime we can like maximize communication, like I'm someone who uses so many words, and then I look at a map and I'm like, I don't have to say as much here. I can just point.
Right.
So using those non-alphabetic or non-verbal communication.
Well, it's like
maps.
infographics have
Yeah.
become a big
Yep.
thing because you can do that as well. I mean, I laugh because I'll be honest, the signs outside of our geoscience store right now are just the course descriptions, and I walk by, I'm like, those are so ugly. Don't tell
I
me.
mean-
But I'm like, no kid's gonna look at that and be like, I want to take that class because it's got 500 words.
Yeah.
So we're working on updating those posters for the
Good.
courses. But
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of using marketing and
Yeah.
multimodal composition. That's why I do like Mike and I in chemistry. We start out with like Chem for Kids books, which sounds like we're making them drug dealers. I realize as I say it, but like we started in 2016, 2017 doing chemistry kids books as one of our major writing projects in the learning community, and so big fan of like trying to translate science. Actually, I just had to do this is unrelated. I'm sorry, but I have the Read Writing Chemistry like blog posts. I had them translating chemistry for everyday life. And so they did all these different metaphors and included images. Not maps related, but multimodal
But
related.
images
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
turn-
So,
can turn into maps.
yep.
A little bit more on maps.
Yeah, sorry.
A little
But
bit
yeah.
on what you're saying. I do agree that seeing like the city planning that they put into the maps is always super interesting to me, because it kind of is like a window into kind of what you think they were thinking. Like, me as a person, I like to put a lot more thought into things that is definitely necessary.
Yeah.
So like, I always, it's a different topic, but I always get like intimidated when I want to make a map for D&D, because I want to put so much thought into this, because I'm like, okay, how did this civilization start? Did it start more as like a village? So would the city be a little bit more of a central thing because it started out super small, so they wanted everything a little bit around each other? Did it start, and so the whole big city is more of like, has a central point? Where's the central point? What is the central point? Is it a church? Blah, blah, blah. Is it more of like a planned out city? Did they come here being like, we're gonna build a city, and so that's why it's a grid, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, so
it's like,
when you guys are thinking about, when you're telling, this might be more on the cultural side, but when you're thinking about maps, like, are there things like that do kind of come to the surface as far as like how roadways or what, like, are there similar principles that we would want to consider?
Well, looking at this, like, my mind immediately goes to, where's the water coming from?
Water
it looks
in
like
space, yeah, water in
there.
space,
Water.
right?
Right, I get it.
There's this
But
big
there's
pool.
There's these two lakes here, or one big lake that goes, but then I'm like, is that it?
Yeah,
It might be like an aquifer.
With that one, I think if you flip it over, there's another
does it?
map on the back.
Oh,
Oh, what is that? Yeah.
And now there's
Is that
more
And
mystery
this is
water.
from the
That one's the flatter?
Spelljammer.
That was the bottom of it's
Well,
an
you know, they
asteroid,
have
so there's
different-
two sides of it.
okay. There's
So
your-
not
there's
Earth.
other side.
So it's
but-
like a crater. Maybe there's water, like an aquifer in
Well,
the
there's
crater.
fields, so they've got, I mean, this is like the farm side.
I have
So
this map
one
at
side
home.
of the planet is
Maybe it's underwater.
resource. Yeah, I mean, I don't
One
know.
side's
Maybe they
research.
just have a
I
lot
don't
of
know the
wells.
lore of the planet actually. Now that I think about it,
This is
Maybe they
Central
artificially
City.
bring in water to fill the lake.
maybe
Sure,
they
maybe that's
artificially
like a
is
trade
magical
thing that they
in
do.
D&D though. Magically
You need to have
creating.
an atmosphere to make the water stay
Maybe
liquid
it
too.
has an
doesn't it?
artificial
It's a
atmosphere.
supplement.
Maybe they
So-
made the
They're
atmosphere.
doing
I-
something like that for this.
Maybe it's in a
So-
giant
Go ahead,
hamster
go ahead.
ball. There's so many
Exactly.
things.
So in
It's
story,
space. They could have made it.
Okay.
Just about this
Maybe it's
thing, or this specific
Maybe it's
setting, I know that
Oh, okay. I'm curious.
the physics they
I
lay
just
out
closed my
for the
mouth too fast.
Spelljammer setting is that everything has like its own little bubble of atmosphere and gravity well.
Mm.
Like even if it's like somebody falls off a ship, they have their own personal little air bubble. And then like there's yeah, right there. And the gravity
Okay.
it's weird where it cuts through, so that explains why none of it's like falling off. So they do have like a
Okay.
atmosphere here, but you are right that it might be like with all this water.
Maybe they drill through and they're
Bubble.
draining it
Well,
underneath.
and I
Yeah,
think they
there
do.
could be like a giant water under, like in the middle of the
And in
asteroid.
these
There's a
situations,
transporter.
Yeah.
in these situations, it's really fun to be the DM and be like, get to decide that. Like, what do I want these people to do? Like, do I want this to be magic? Do I want this to be a technological feat? And that's kind of where science comes in. Like, how can I make this technological feat make sense?
Yeah, I can't
Or
explain
make
anything they
no
did, that's why I
sense
make my own
whatsoever.
maps.
One of the things with
Or as much
Spelljammer,
sense
so,
as it
so
can.
the Spelljammer series is supposed to be like fantasy space travel, and I think one of the things they do is give the astral sea not a void or lack of matter, but where all the empty space would have some almost like not ocean density, but something like that to it. That how it works, I don't know, but that's but I think that's one part of it is like, what if space had a little bit of atmosphere no matter what is kind of a little bit of it, I think.
That's right. I only know Earth.
Yet another question is, what fish is this boat catch?
Lake
Why would I
fish.
know-
You have to seed the lake with fish and
Yeah.
I want to know what this material is.
Yeah, is it like
Gravel?
is it a
Right?
is it
If
a
it's an asteroid, right, you would think it would
Yeah, it would
some
have
kind
to
of-
be.
like, and the shape of the asteroid, like potato shape, is an asteroid shape. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that would be a reasonable
Globular.
shape. It wouldn't
What-
be, two-dimensional on the top side and the bottom side. It'd be a little more
Yeah.
3D-ness to it, but.
what's the is there a benefit or is there a relevance to it being potato shaped? Like what are the shapes?
Well, that means it has to be
Classifications.
small.
Okay.
Right, so if it gets big enough, it'll essentially, become
Yes.
spherical as it's
Because
born.
it's just pushing through so much. What makes it spherical? End up being spherical?
So it has to do with like how the stuff is like moving in as it forms. Like as the planets are forming, for example, you've got like pieces of space rock that kind of accrete on and kind of stick together, and that'll get bigger and bigger. But everything is rotating, so it kind of tends to, be drawn into more spherical
When you're working
shapes.
Play-Doh.
And then if it's big enough, it'll also like melt. Right, you get heat in the middle,
Yeah.
causes the stuff to become molten, which is how
Mm.
you get layers in the planets. Whereas all the rock and metal becomes liquid, separates out by density, and then so if it's liquid, it's kind of a little easier to get it.
And from my
More exact
understanding,
shape.
if something is getting constant pressure on all sides equally, it will turn into a sphere. Is that correct? Ish. Like
All directions.
from all directions, yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, exactly.
Which would make
Yeah.
sense. Hi.
So like when you make a snowman.
Yeah.
It starts out all floppy and you roll it enough that it kind of.
it
It's
gets
moving
the
around.
snow.
Yeah.
I was thinking Play-Doh. I'm right there with you.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
like a stone in like a stream or a river. Like it's just kind of being hit constantly with things and things are chipping off. And
About that today.
That's
as
crazy.
it tumbles around and gets chipped off on at random on all sides, it'll eventually get smooth and spherical-ish.
Cool.
But yeah.
Smaller stuff like this probably wouldn't have had that molten effect. It's kind of just different things that are stuck together
Piece of
over
something.
time. So you kind of just, it is what it is.
Yeah, this has to be only like 4 miles
It looks tiny.
across at the widest point.
I don't know how big a mile
Is there some key feature of maps? Is there a legend or a scale? Because most D&D
Yes.
maps for
a
combat
scale?
have one,
There's a
but
scale.
yeah, what is it? And from a professional standpoint, how effective is that scale? Would you say?
I don't think that scale's very effective, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, so a mile across.
Ooh.
That is
Frame city.
I do
Dude,
have
that's
a
like
Top
a
of each
block.
other.
Yeah.
That's like a
But I
city
don't
block.
see.
Those buildings are
legend.
tiny.
No, not a legend. I think it's just because it's more satellite-esque.
Yeah, I
that
don't
you
think they
can
really
look.
need
Yeah,
that.
That's
it's
true,
sort of
that's true.
labels on.
Yeah, and it's one of the fun parts of the experiential side of the game, and I have a few of the minis there. I realized I didn't bring any regular size, but so standard scale, if we're talking like battle maps, if we want to switch a little bit, so these are more like aesthetic world building, like large scale, like you can have districts, and that versus like a battle map, and battle maps are usually in a 1/2 inch equals 5 foot scale. I can't remember what the actual dimension, what that would be called, but yeah. So when we're doing this, most minis are designed to be at that 1/2 inch equals 5 foot, 28 millimeter
This is another
scale.
example where
Yeah.
it's cardboard and you kind of
Yeah.
put
You
them
can kind
together.
of build it as you go.
Yeah.
Kind of like StarCraft.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
put them together, you
Where
slide
go
them
to your
together.
next
Yeah.
area.
Here, let's do this. Let's have you guys roll your D20, which is the one that looks like that, or you can roll the big one. But to see who gets to weigh in on our battle maps first.
Getting involved.
See how bad I roll.
Competitive.
The in D&D, the higher
right?
is the better. So
Select the scenario.
you can just dump them all out too. That works too. So yeah, just roll. Well, actually, I do. Technically, I have like one of these, so we can use a little dice tray.
We're gonna get
So-
Protect them.
Yeah.
Yep. Or keep them from flying off, because yes, a common thing if you don't have one of these is
No,
they do
you don't do it.
fly off the
There's not
table
somebody here who
on,
does it all.
and then there's the question
We know
of
it's here, I'd be
does
like-
the roll count if it hits the floor? Yeah, so go for it.
2.
Oh,
Nice.
that's We're also 10.
Hey, look-
Yeah.
All right, did you get a nat 20?
A failure and a success.
Nat 20. Okay, so yeah. So you get to weigh in on what is your first impression of the battle maps? We'll just do the one on the bottom first, or whatever resonates.
Well, they remind me
caught.
of. I've maybe played once or twice in my life, but my husband
Cut
plays
this
StarCraft.
cave.
Okay.
He plays Warcraft. So it reminds me of he's building his base. His buddies over there building his base, and they're usually spreading out to connect to each other,
Mhm.
and then they're enemies. So that's what brings to my mind when I see at least the grid system on it, that shows that kind of. But so in your games, would a person roll whether they're going north, south, east, or west?
No, so go for it.
Actually, I have a game that I'm running right now where they're on a planet that's completely covered in water, so I do make them roll a 4-sided dice to determine which direction they're going.
So you could, yeah.
Depends on the person, on the DM. So the DM can make or remove any sort of mechanics. So you can add some to make it a little bit more random or a little bit more complicated, or you can remove some. Like, I usually simplify mine, but typical D&D will see a player being like, I want to move toward this location. So it'll be like toward the biggest tree or toward this enemy. And then that's usually how it's a little, the player will usually choose which direction they want to go.
And so there's a couple ways they can get used. They can be used as a battle map where there is turn-based turn taking. And you roll initiative like you guys did. Whoever gets highest gets to go first, and that's the turn order. And so if you're fighting enemies, you have a certain amount of movement, a certain number of squares you get to move, but you get to decide. But sometimes there are also, like, the map highlights a geographic feature like that cliff right there.
Right.
And some of my maps actually have, like, it says it's 20 feet or 40 feet up. Other times the DM gets to decide exactly,
You
like,
fall in there, you die.
and it might require the players, like maybe it's not listed because the one person running the game didn't decide or wants the players to figure it out. So they might have to roll perception or investigate the cliff edge if they want to go and try and climb down it or something. And it could be anywhere from 10 feet there or 60 feet because of the, yeah. And there is fall damage if something bad happens if it's over 20 feet or whatever the DM decides. So yeah.
Looking at this as a map, it's not very informative, but
It's just, no, this one is a pretty basic geographic, like just this is the terrain.
yeah.
Yeah. Donna, what is your initial thoughts as you look at it?
Well, one thing was certainly what's the vertical scale. Like as you mentioned, these cliffs, like is that something you can just kind of walk all over or not? And can you,
Jumping.
Yeah.
right? So it's like that's lacking that 3D nature to it, or like can you walk through a tree or through a rock? Like how does the movement kind of align with everything else that's happening in there?
Yeah.
Right. Like if you had to kind of go the long way around through here instead of like going like through the trees. Right. What's the
That's another clip.
Yeah. And so what might happen is like a character might go snuggle behind that tree next to the cliff and try and hide, thinking, oh, okay, I'm in the dark, and then they might try and then try and climb the cliff instead of walking around in the open, and so using the cover and so that kind of thing could happen. Yeah.
Are those boulders over there, or is that trees?
Those are boulders as well. There are big rocks, yeah.
Oh.
And if you move the cardboard pieces, I think there's some more. Yeah, there's some nice things there.
Some nice
Um,
aerial.
Why is that blue? Or, I guess.
It's just the shading. Yeah,
This is a sunny area.
yeah. So trying
So
to
the sun's kind of in
indicate
that direction. Coming.
in this moment, sometimes it's just stylized
Yeah,
to
it's like
create
a-
some variation.
And you
Even
know,
like
like
you said, the size of the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't think that is in that
But yeah.
situation.
So, but you talked about the
Could, like especially when it shades like right there, like
Yeah.
you know that it's really tall. But
Yeah.
what are you saying, Kaylee? What are you saying?
Yeah.
What do you got?
well, she was also noticing. Noella also mentioned how like in that corner they use the shading to be like really big cliff, like
Right, that one looks bigger
a
than
lot
this
deeper
one. Looks
than
bigger
this
than
one.
yeah,
this one,
because of the
yeah.
shading that they used.
Yeah.
But there's definitely ways to get more detailed with terrain. Like sometimes we'll do people will build 3D terrain where they carve out of foam, like mountains and stuff. And that'll definitely get you more of like, okay, you dropped 20 feet and this is 20 inches, so it's 20 feet, something like that. I don't know. But, or blah, blah, blah. But usually maps are more of like a guide for us. And like I said, it's a lot of decision making on the players and the DM's part. It's a lot of like making calls, basically. You're like, yeah, sure. You don't die.
Depends on what you feel.
Yeah. I did have a question. We're seeing all these different types of maps. Greg's getting another one.
Oh no.
I like maps.
I have like 100 of them printed at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was your question while I'm laying stuff out? Because I
Yeah.
tried to listen earlier and got distracted.
Oh yeah, here comes the terrain. Well, so my question would kind of be like, especially throughout the years and everything, there's tons of different types of maps and types of things. Like, how do you think different origins of places or things like that would kind of affect how they make the map or what kind of map they would choose to make them?
Well, my master's thesis was on how to lie with maps.
How to
Yeah.
lie? How to
lie. Yeah.
Is that like the
Lie.
Pearson projection map kind of stuff?
Like deceive?
Yes, deceive. Yes,
Okay.
that type of thing. Where
Obfuscate the truth.
I've got a
Right.
paragraph like that in my 12-page essay.
basically what it is it's. I mean, think about it when you're the queen and you're like, I want a map of my land. The one example I use is there is a map of England, or the UK, that looks like the queen on the throne.
Oh,
She's
that's not what that looks
sitting
like.
In hit book Warrior Cats, they use the maps to take the land from the other clans
Right.
because the clans with the more power can make the maps, and so they take the land from the other ones,
Exactly.
which they do in real life also.
They
And
do.
there's gerrymandering, which is also a thing
Yes.
that I did.
Yeah. Anyway, as you're saying.
But no, that's exactly right. And then, I mean, if you compare a new Esri or the GIS map, it's completely different. You don't, of course, have, the queen sitting on the throne as the map. But a lot of times people would draw maps of their land when first cities were being developed, and they'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna put the line over a little further, and I got a few more square feet. And so that's when the whole not plane table surveying, township and range goes to your grid system where you take each acreage is based on a box, and then the box gets split into 36. I mean, it's very detailed where you look, even at if you buy a house and you're looking through your deeds, it will say, TRS, and it will go through all these codes to show you the exact area. You own this 1/4 of this box, and you own this 1/2 of this, and so
Land
it gets
surveying
very,
style, yeah.
very detailed.
So they're old cultures that have, like, if you throw in Old Testament, they've got like, don't move the ancient boundary stone, and it's meant to be like, this is your family's. You're not supposed to be messing with the family allotments and stuff. But yeah.
But all maps are lies.
Yes.
It's impossible to put a
Ooh.
spherical surface onto a flat
Right,
surface.
yes.
All kinds of things like the projections that
Yeah.
you use, right? They all lie in some way. It's important to just know how your map is lying.
Yeah.
That's a great way to say it. It's
really
important to know
calculate.
how your map is lying.
Well,
Adjust.
Mercator is now outlawed in Nebraska.
What?
Yeah, Mercator projections in the classrooms
The normal
are not.
ones, the
It's
ones that
a
are
law,
everywhere.
a state
just
law.
like the rectangle.
The rectangle one?
I
We
don't know.
want a map that maximizes.
That's my favorite
Yeah, it's
one.
not bigger.
Not mine. I like the one that goes like
Oh
that.
yeah, that one's fun.
That one's pretty
Oh,
cool.
yes.
So I think it's okay. There's a scholar that I had to learn about in literary theory, and it had to do with it was Baudrillard's simulacra, and it basically the whole it starts. He opens this piece on like facsimiles to reality with this fancy way of describing like old adventurers maps and the monsters on the corner. And as our knowledge of the natural world expands, we get to this place where the map has become as big as reality and is now, it's this whole post-structuralist, postmodern critique of things, and how the map we use is now the same size as reality and decaying at the seams the more we so that there's really no way of knowing. So it's a very post-structuralist approach. But yeah, I didn't think about it till just now. But it could be a fun story to be like, what happens when the maps, actually, yeah, what happens when the maps, maybe like a non-player character, like some town person gives you the wrong map or gives you an inaccurate map, becomes a whole storyline.
I love that.
Whose map are you using?
Watch out.
Yeah. So you mentioned, so we talked two. You said one is outlined. You said Mercator's map, or not outlined, outlawed. You said
Yes, Mercator in Nebraska.
Okay, so talk about that. What is that? What is that? What does
Well,
that
if you
mean?
think about it, on a Mercator projection, Greenland is the size of Africa because of the size, and so it's too distorted. So they want more of a non-distorted map. But again, 2D to 3D, what are we gonna do here? And it's the whole idea of the projections. I mean, you need to do smaller space area to be able to do it. But I unfortunately don't know all the behind the law or what started that
Yeah.
law. They are thankfully understanding that teachers don't have the money to go out and buy a new map, so they're allowing them still to use the Mercator in the classroom until they're able to get the better maps.
I actually. Oh,
What's wrong?
hi there.
Hi.
You guys were.
We're in all three. We're just doing a special podcasty interview with faculty members. So, but yeah, you're welcome to wander through all three rooms.
General shots.
Yeah, whatever seems interesting. So he was going to come and do just general photography for the D&D club. So pay no attention to the man with the camera. So
Okay,
Easier said than done.
I actually
I'm doing
have
homework.
a
though.
story
Like stories.
about something about my childhood and maps. Okay. When I was a little girl and me and my sister were looking at maps all day, because we were homeschooled, so like our homeschool space obviously had to look like schooly. So it had maps and stuff. But for so long, my sister thought Alaska was an island by Hawaii because of the little box that they put with Alaska and Hawaii. And so it took her till she was like 12 to be like, Alaska's not an island and it's not by Hawaii.
I believe it.
because yeah, it's like, how do you get that information and do people have to translate
And
what? Yeah.
As a child, like, who's there to tell you that that's not right? And like, what is there to be like, no, this is just an example.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing telling people like, this isn't actually what it is.
Right.
This is just like an example of just like, these are just off of the map and this is
There
the
was no
places.
room up here. So we
Yes,
did that here.
exactly.
Because all we care about is the United States.
Exactly.
Everything else can just be ignored.
Exactly.
All that ocean, we don't care about that ocean.
No.
All that Canada, we don't care about that Canada.
They should
Just
put
this.
Canada. I don't know what the provinces are. Apparently there's provinces and there's something else. I didn't know that. What are the other ones called?
I think provinces are what they have instead of states, if I'm
Yes.
remembering
No, but
correctly.
they've got like two different things because they've got the provinces and then there's something else that's like the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, territories, yes.
What's the
I also
difference?
thought I also thought
Okay, yeah.
Canada was just there was nothing there because only on the United States maps they separate everything, but they don't do it in Canada. They don't
No, it's
separate
just
the
not
provinces.
colored.
It's just flat, and so I'm like, oh, there's just nothing
The
there.
other lands.
Yes, the not us.
Or-
The above
Like-
United States.
Well, I remember there was this the Pierce Anthony's Xanth series. It was basically Florida, and then but Xanth was Florida, and everything in this region was magical. And the second you crossed the Florida border, you went into like the no magic zone, and they were so afraid of the no magic zone where there weren't magical creatures, and and it was said that I think it was said that once you crossed, it was hard. You couldn't necessarily get back, but yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
issues
same
with
with
that
Florida. Once you
author
leave
for
Florida,
a number
no
of
one ever
reasons.
comes back.
But yeah, so it was one of those like I remember knowing like, oh, I know what Florida looks like because I know the Xanth map. But it also had that like this is the other
Everything else.
other regions, other world or whatever. I have some questions in the chat. While I'm looking at those, did you guys have anything that Killian? Have you said things that you
No,
wanted to say?
he hasn't said things, period. I'm just kidding. No, I'm teasing. I'm
His
teasing.
introduction at the beginning.
No, you're right.
Oh,
I'm teasing.
I was gonna say earlier when you brought up, you two brought up with maps, and then with Greg bringing up with the periodic table. I think this is one of the big fields where the arts and sciences cross over a lot, because there's just like, especially with world building, you just have to like learn. It's kind of like something you told me the other day. There's some famous phrase about writing. It's like to be a writer, you need to be at least one of three things.
Oh,
Like,
I think it was Faulkner who said you have to be one, at least one. If you can be two, that's great. But it's either you have to like have be. Oh, now I've lost it. Observant, like very good at observation because you can draw data from that. It was have life experience, substantial life experience because you're drawing on those things. And the last one, I think it was like be imaginative, be able to connect the dots between a variety of things. I think those are the three he gives us.
yeah.
I think it's really important. Sorry.
No.
What about that?
Yeah, you go for it.
Oh, just like, because it's very important when you're writing stories, or like you pointed out with the water on the asteroid, like, yeah, of course, no matter how much work you do, there's always going to be some kind of shortcoming, but sometime, if you don't do like hardly any, then these can like really distract people from getting involved in your stories.
Especially me.
Yeah.
Killian knows. He's like DMing, and I'm like, "What about this?" And he's like, I'm like, "That makes no sense. That makes no sense. What?" And he's like, "You have to think of something real fast to make sense." Because I think of people, especially myself, but I think people in general are always trying to connect dots just naturally, and always trying to make sense of things. So a lot of questions pop up where you may not have prepared, but if you have like a full view of like if you build it out spherically and try and make your world as full as possible and try to think of like what questions would they ask and stuff, that's really important to do, but it's really hard to do it when you have no understanding of science, because everything just happens to turn into, it just does.
And like two other examples that spring to mind. It's like one is keep knowing some actual science or whatever about whatever you're trying to world build is important. Like I know in the Invincible series, there's a point where one of the heroes tries to build like a playground somewhere to help people, and the project has been canceled before, and then it's revealed, it's been canceled because this area is unstable, so it falls apart. And then another is like, even if you want to go fantastical, even if you want to lean into the fantastical, just having some of that background knowledge can be helpful. Like I was going to ask about those old popular views of the planets, like Venus being a jungle world. And like if you wanted to explore that and like, I don't know, Spelljammer or whatever, knowing something about like how does that planet, what's the makeup of that planet have to be, and what's its orbit need to look like in order to make it come out that way is important, because like, the audience, you can probably get the audience to join along to like accept that there's just this jungle planet with dinosaurs and whatever,
But if you call it Venus,
suddenly
we're in a whole different realm. There's going to be pushback, right? Though I think that was kind of along the lines of our first interview with Donna, was that we tossed out that idea of like, what would it take kind of version of things. Like, this is what we know about it. What would it take to get a creature who came from I think we're looking at a moon that didn't have any atmosphere or something. Like, what kind of creature could live there if there wasn't, right? It's that kind of thing. But yeah.
Those movies in
a little.
like Interstellar. And
That's a good, yeah.
Honestly, The Martian is pretty good, except for the
part where he got stuck stranded there by himself in the first place.
Because they never would have left him, or?
If you can get dust storms on Mars like that, really fast wind speeds, but there's not a lot of atmosphere. If there's dust storm, you go inside and you wait. It's not going to knock your spaceship over.
It's not like tornado level. Okay.
Oh,
It's tornado level.
There's not enough
speeds,
force.
Not tornado level particles or density.
Oh, okay.
I see.
So yeah, you would just go back
Okay.
inside and you wait until the dust clears, and then you go back outside and everything's fine.
So the wind would be fast, but it wouldn't feel as harsh.
Exactly, it's like 1%
Okay, that's
of the
interesting.
atmosphere the Earth has.
Oh, like getting
1%
sprayed
the
with
amount
mist
of
instead of
stuff
a fire
hitting you.
hose.
So,
That's really interesting.
Okay.
but after that, the science honestly is pretty good.
That's.
I mean, okay.
I'm a big fan
the
of
landing
Martian.
site
I
also
like
doesn't
that
look
one
like
a
the movie,
lot.
but that's another story.
Yeah. I also think it's important to know your stuff if you're going to include a map, to know what you're talking about. Because a little bit on that, like if I had a solar system, and I know Noella and her space thing, I'm not talking about you, I'm not singling you out. But if I had like made a solar system map for my players, and I had this jungle planet, but it was it was like the furthest away from the sun, everyone would be like, why is it a jungle? It should be cold.
Right.
And then everyone gets confused, and then I have to come up with an explanation.
Right. So
why
then
it's
you,
jungle.
the fun world building is like, what is
I
the
know.
rationale for this actually working? Like I've said.
Yeah, because if you
I mean,
have,
it's a combination of how far away it is, but also how much atmosphere it has.
yeah, that's true.
So, you know, there's all kinds of different variables that you can have that go into those equations, and there is math behind that if you don't want to know the math.
Yeah,
Thermodynamics.
absolutely.
Dynamics. Okay, well, so looking at the chat, we have a couple of questions here. So we've got first, yes, physical maps, GPS. I like maps better than GPS, came up a couple of times. There was a question
For fun.
where did it go? I thought it was for Donna, like, what's your favorite part of astronomy? What is Professor Donna's favorite thing in astronomy? Was the question that
Period.
came up.
Just the thing.
Just like, what's the favorite part?
Mars.
Mars is
Mars.
Mars is cool. Is that you bought a piece of it or named a piece of it? No.
I told them to name a crater that I was writing a research paper about. I was like, this crater is big enough that it should have a name. And I told them this crater should have a name, and then they have a list, and they pulled a name off of their list and said, this is now the name of your crater.
Well, there you
Because
go.
they do it like step by step, right?
So yeah, so it's the craters of this size are like named after towns on the Earth.
Yeah.
They have this rule, it's
And they have a
less
list.
than like 10,000 people, whatever the threshold is for defining a town. You can submit if there's a town name that you want a crater named after, you can put it on the list. And then when people say, I got a crater that needs a name, they just kind of pull things off that list.
Do they pick, or do they go down a list?
They will pick, they try and
Oh.
get, like, a lot of craters are named after towns in the US, so they're kind of trying to get things from elsewhere in the world. So, like, my crater is
Class.
Dan Crater. It's named after a town in the Maldives.
Oh,
Because they're trying to get as many different representations, like, around the world.
What
as they
made
can.
you decide on that?
So that was the name that they gave it. So it was like a 20-kilometer diameter crater. And throughout my paper, I'm just calling it like a crater A. I'm like, this is really boring.
Like,
And
can
my
I have a
advisor
name,
said,
please?
you can ask them to name it. And sure enough, I found the link. I wrote my
Nice.
story about why
Who's
it's
they?
important.
Them.
Cool kids.
Big
Them,
space.
trademark.
I forget now.
Okay, so the international one.
But yeah, there's like people that are in
Yeah.
charge of the
Right.
nomenclature. And
The
then that's
International
what
Space
different
Geography people? Nothing, I'm sorry.
I mean, we have
What's your
that
question?
meteorology, so.
No, I'm sorry, Donna.
Okay, so in the library here, they have like a globe of the moon, right?
They do?
And yeah, and all of
I'm gonna
the
explore the library.
all of the
Facts,
like,
Noella says.
well, I was
Okay.
just in the library earlier, and I was
And you
waiting
saw
for
this
people to
thing.
leave my room, and they didn't leave my room, so I just had to cancel the booking. But it's not.
Because
that's
you're
not the point, but-
non-confrontational
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
Very
kind.
much so.
Anyways, the point was all of the things on the moon globe thing were named like the sea of and like the ocean. Why are they called that if there's no water?
So have you ever looked at the moon?
No.
No. That was my first issue.
What's the saying? Humans never look up, right?
I mean, it's like we kind of take it for granted. We don't really pay attention.
Well, I've
to it.
looked like at the moon. I haven't like looked like.
But like, do you notice how
I've
like,
seen
there
the
are
moon
places
before.
that are darker in color versus lighter in color, right? So people saw that from the Earth, long before we knew anything about what the moon was made of. But these dark areas looked like maybe they could be seas. So the name for them became these like mare. It's sort of Latin for sea. So mare tranquilla. I can't pronounce all that. Sea of Tranquility is where the Apollo 11 mission landed.
This is propaganda.
It's in these smooth places.
Yeah, they were
So
lying.
They didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Once they got there, we learned, as we kind of got better data, that these are actually these old volcanic floodplains, basically. You had these big impacts early in the history. Magma basically oozed up and filled up the basin that the crater made, and then it solidified into these rock surfaces that are darker than everything else.
That's
But
interesting.
they looked like seas to ancient people who were just like looking at the moon without the better to do at night.
So they're not darker because they're like deeper?
No, they're dark because they're different in composition.
Oh,
So
I
it's
thought
kind
it
of
was
these old,
just
like,
'cause-
basalt lava plains.
I thought it was just like,
I didn't. That's good. I didn't know that.
I guess,
That's cool.
just like water. Like when the water's deeper, it's deeper in color. I thought the deeper the crater, the darker it showed up on the moon. That's really
So the craters
interesting.
that got flooded with lava, so they kind of basically got filled up, and if you were there 4.5 billion years ago, you might actually see.
I was actually.
Yes, but you remember the magma sea?
Yeah, absolutely.
You remember the magma
That's
seas.
huge news.
This actually leads very well into the other question that I had. So since there's no water on other planets, how does that affect like the plate movements?
Is there plate movements?
Well, there is
Because I was
there's
thinking
magma,
about the
but if there's
fluid
no water,
versus
then how does
fluid
that,
versus
like,
There is no plate
Liquid or whatever.
tectonics on any other planet today. Venus maybe had it in the past, we're not sure. Today it's definitely just kind of a one big like solid crust of material. Mars, we don't know if it ever had plate tectonics. It's hard to tell because we're kind
It's
of
dusty.
looking at it all geologically dead like it is today. So plate tectonics is actually a special Earth case, and we're not entirely sure why.
Earth
That's
special.
good. That's
Water.
Cool. So you can have like molten lava possibly in a place, but no water with it. So you can have it like the fluid rock. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just as a liquid can flow.
Yeah.
We also see similar basins on Mercury where there's, never been any water. And you can get tectonic activity, but which is just motion of the crust, kind of making ridges or like building continents as continents get compressed. You can build mountains without plate tectonics. Like the crust itself can still be moving just because you have heat in the center that's being lost.
so it's because there's not plates?
Yeah.
It's all
So
just
you don't
one
need
thing.
plates to have,
Yeah.
Basically the crust of
So-
Venus is just like a solid thing.
Shell, if you will, like an egg shell.
So it just like moves around?
Like the whole outside, like as all by itself,
to make like the
independently.
mountains and stuff, like
So as bits of the crust kind of just get pushed together, right? So you get different forces in different directions. You can kind of get some of
Yeah.
these things, or kind of the best example of some of this tectonic activities, like for Mercury's crust basically shrank as the planet cooled down. So you kind of get, as that outer shell
Solidifies.
gets smaller, you basically make these ridges because it gets pushed together. So you kind of get material that makes these long wrinkle ridges along surface. But that's because it was getting compressed. And so there's nowhere else for that material to go because it's solid, but up.
So this kind of, I think I can tie in one of these questions here. So there's so if we're thinking about these sorts of like unfamiliar flows and whether it's lava or we have a question, what D&D Earth monsters are there in the game? But it could just be what monsters could you see kind of being like in this kind of environment? Could adventures possibly, if we were making it up, obviously. What kind of
robot.
monsters would have to live in these places with lava, in these, or in, or what kind of D&D Earth monsters are there? So I might let the
Wait.
what kind of monster would you want adventurers to be afraid of in environments like this that we've been talking about?
Get a load of these guys.
I love those ones.
Because you
And
can
those
make up
blobs.
whatever. What are they? What
Aren't
do
they
we-
fun?
I love
I
those.
can't see
Oh.
That's
Plasmoids.
And they're like that
Plasmoids?
Live
big.
anywhere.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
that I could see.
And the hamster. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. So, because there are definitely all D&D sometimes has like what they call the elemental planes that you can travel to, and so it'd be like the earth, wind, fire, water kind of thing.
Or like a fire dragon in the
Yeah,
Madness
or
Sea.
or like a literal lava monster. A lava elemental, like people can conjure into randomness
Like
with
the blob from Star Trek
yeah.
that killed just random.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
just shows up somewhere.
You have not seen that
Yeah.
Aging myself here.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, which Star Trek? But yeah, what kind of Earth monsters would you, Earth or lava or with these things? What kind of monsters can you imagine?
I want a hellhound.
Oh, yeah,
3 heads. Just sit beside me guarding.
Cerberus style, right?
Yeah,
or a
right.
Fluffy from Harry Potter, right?
A little bit of both. Gets mean when.
Do you think aliens on a different planet would be more of like substances, less than beings?
Are they primordial ooze
Do you
style?
think it would be more likely that they would be more of like tangible like creatures
Little guys.
like we have here, or do you think they would be more
Blobbies.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it could probably.
for the scientific term,
Yeah.
blobbies?
If there's life on other planets, microbial life would be most likely, right?
Yeah.
Bacteria, things like that, because that's sort of the simplest form of, a cell. You've got some kind of thing that separates it out from the outsides, but like, we don't really know what it takes to go from very small stuff to very big stuff.
I see. Okay.
So there's a lot of questions in that, a lot of
A
hypothetical.
gray area.
We only know of one kind of life.
Take it,
Period.
you've got
All life on Earth is
books
related to the same common ancestor.
Monsters.
We have no idea what else could be out there, what other chemistries could be. So,
That's true.
Oh, look, a map.
Do you think it would be more beneficial to have like sort of like a shell-like structure like all of our life does, like it has outsides and it has insides? Or do you think it would be more beneficial if they had, scientific term, blobby?
outside and inside, the cell membrane does that. Right? You just have those phospholipids that kind of
So it
form
naturally would
into-
have that.
So yeah, you actually
Yes.
like that's sort of like the simplest forms of life are just like self-contained.
I like what you're saying.
Yes.
This
But
is just
it
to.
wouldn't be like on the moon today. We have to go back in time to when you had the lava seas, and then you could
The elementals.
pull that out of there. But yeah, you could put those on. Maybe ice elemental on Mars today. It would be liquid.
be.
You would sublimate. That would
I-
be unfortunate.
I think
Well,
aliens
what
would be
talk-
crap.
what do you mean?
Also, liquid water. I guess it would evaporate if it were liquid if you put it there. But liquid water is not stable on the surface of Mars today because the atmospheric pressure is too low.
What
So
if
if you put a cup of water on Mars, it would like simultaneously boil and freeze.
What if it?
What?
Would go
What-
away.
what
then- then
elements-
I feel like it just disappeared?
There.
What elements would
I
like
got
that you
some
could have
questions.
like this like ice-like crystalline structure maybe?
Ice is
That's what I do when I.
Is ice just
yeah,
water or
when
is
I'm
it?
overstimulated.
Okay.
Yeah, there's-
Are there
Yeah.
others?
water on Mars is just all in the form of water ice.
Okay.
But yeah, something like an ice version of that, like roaming around the polar caps.
So
Into crevices and.
so you said it would sublimate, which is boiling and freezing at the same time. Is that what you
If
said?
had ice exposed at the surface, like near the equator, it'll sublimate. So in a lot of places, like
But not liquid.
definitely can't get liquid basically anywhere. You can get ice exposed to the atmosphere, like at the poles where it's really cold. Everywhere else, the ice has to kind of be underneath dirt that protects it from the atmosphere a little bit to keep it from sublimating.
And sublimating is again.
So from solid directly into vapor. Skips over.
It's like
water.
throwing up and cropping your pants.
So what if
Why would you?
it's
say
just a
that?
real? It's just really gassy. No, what I was thinking was but what if like the way that the elemental
Burping
like
and farting.
articulates against
No.
itself is at the joints, it's sublimating like an air hockey table. Like it's shooting jets of like as it's kind of evaporating like fast evaporating. There's something about the core that keeps it solid, but like that helps it. Like it does it the way Iron Man's suit.
Where does it
works. Like I don't know if I'm over.
Like,
but
where
I
does
think
that
that'd be fun.
matter
Like
go.
if it evaporates, it
Into
goes
the
up.
atmosphere.
But like
Yeah.
if it freezes, how can it freeze and not freeze at the same time? Because the freeze
Like
makes
the particles
solid, and the
individually
not freeze
freeze.
makes gas, and the solid can't be gas.
I think you blew your mind to it.
What does it
what would
mean?
what would magic have
we
to
haven't
do
actually
here?
put a glass of water on the surface.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we should do
the
that.
temperatures
We
are
should
so
do
low,
that.
the only phases that would be stable are ice.
Can't you
and
just like
vapor.
shoot an ice cube out of a rover? Like,
Yeah, I think we should take ice cubes
Yeah,
up
Donna,
there.
shoot an ice cube
pitch
out of a
that to
rover.
NASA.
I
you
will,
know,
I will.
let's
I'll get my
handle
suit.
this.
We can write a 400-page
Inquiring minds.
proposal.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Done.
experiment.
We'll get
Already
Shark
done.
Tank.
Past
The
tense
Shark
done.
We're gonna give the rover a water.
yeah, yeah.
I guess I was thinking kind of like would liquid nitrogen or like that kind of thing, would that
It look like this.
be a monster that like something
Didn't
like
they,
that
put guns on
instead?
rovers, like the
Use,
first
like,
time they sent them
Like
out?
with
Yeah.
the-
Just
That
in
would make
case of
sense.
aliens.
CO2, both
Just
in
in
water
case.
and vapor.
Like with a different boiling
Like,
point or
might as
something?
well,
It
right?
makes sense.
Due to like you get these slabs of CO2 ice that solidify in the winter, and as it warms up, you can get like a cushion of air underneath it that
It'd be your
erodes
air
the
hockey
surface.
No.
So like that's definitely a mechanism that could work.
I have a question.
Okay. Is it about more aliens?
No.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm going back
Either-
to maps.
Either way, what do you
That's
got?
maps.
I know.
It is the map interview.
Yes, it is a map interview, and I'm like, I love talking about aliens, but I could all day, and
Whoa.
so we're going back to maps.
Yes.
I know there's
Um,
There are tons of books.
like I said before, I want every time I go into something, I make it unnecessarily complicated just because I like to be thorough in my world building. But so I often get like really intimidating when I want to make something like that for my games. So I do want to know both like planet-wise and like more zoomed in on the planet-wise. Is that geographical? Is that the word? I don't know. Yeah, that wise. Like how would you, like arts and crafts day, how would you make that like world if you were gonna make your own? Like, how would you go about it?
like creating like just
Like a physical model. It can be a piece of paper. It can be like a 3D model if that's what you think is best. Like if I wanted to bring in a physical representation of my world,
I like that one.
but it had to be like a little simple because it is art, like an arts and crafts kind of thing. How would you approach that?
Well, if it has any type of elevation to it, it would be back to like the project we did in my class,
Yeah.
where they would look at the topographic map. So if they were, I don't think this has topography on it, but if you were to take like
Just
this
texture.
section, it's inferred, yeah, so you can see that. But if you were to take this section, you would kind of determine, okay, how many layers up do I need to go? And so then, depending on how many supplies you have, if you have infinite amount of supplies, you could build up that layer, and it would be, you could use the clay to mold it or create that. Because we didn't have unlimited supplies, what they ended up doing is they'd create their first like 3 layers, and then they'd pull from the bottom.
Oh.
Because if you think if we've got, this little guy, and I'm building up my mountain, I don't need stuff in the middle to put this on top.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need
Yeah.
that, but I could take all this material in arts and crafts land and build it up top. And so that's how you could make your 3D model, where you're doing that. Or, I mean, it's as simple as, Minecraft does it well with the bricks. You could take Legos and you could build your model, but it's not going to be curved. But you could build it, and then you could put clay over it
Yeah.
out of Legos, and then
For gaming, it's not uncommon for people to use like half-inch foam because that's the half-inch or even full-inch foam as the 5-footers, and like use that in layers with that same principle to keep it feeling like it's to scale. Even if they if they're using foam, they'll like cut the foam at an irregular angle so that you get that hillside slope kind of feel. So yeah.
So you think the best, most like informative, put together version would be a 3D version of that map, not just lines, topographical lines.
if you know everybody in your group can read topography, that would be a great model.
Yeah.
But if you don't think they can, 3D is always better.
Okay.
At least in my opinion.
That's
If
why
you
I have
wanted
4
to-
different maps
Depending
of
on what
my
else-
ocean planet.
It also depends on what else you're trying to convey in your map, because you could also use like colorized elevation, right? You kind of have
Yeah.
where
Yes.
different colors represent different heights. So as long as you can
Mhm.
understand
Like
how to read that,
here.
you don't have to put like other things
Yeah.
on it, right? Or you can have, you know, kind of different versions of the same map that you can kind of overlay, which is something you can do with mapping programs a lot. You'll take it, you know, especially for planetary science, you'll take like an image of the surface and you can overlay that, you know, kind of make it a little transparent. You put the topography layer on top so you can still see the image underneath and which things correspond with that topography layer. You can stack all different kinds of data sets,
Oh.
you know.
GIS 205 is being offered next semester.
I was in my
I should take that with me.
in my 102 class.
That sounds
I
fun.
have students
Yeah.
design
Maybe
games
don't.
based on their other courses they're taking, whatever the content is. They design games based on that for elementary students to play. And so this feels like the kind of thing. Like I'm all for like a game that incorporates this into it, or it can just be an opportunity to teach everyone around the table with D&D. These like it becomes part of the story. Okay, where you have like a little micro lesson embedded from like an NPC that shares how topographical and then they all get like some sort of bonus to their character, like a +2 on survival or something. Yeah.
Because they can read the map.
Because they can read the maps that this expert has given them. It's fun. Yeah, I like embedding that kind of stuff. So, I had so we're getting close. I think I asked you guys to stay till 5:30. If you're still going a little bit longer, it's 5:29. There was another question in here for Heather, and it was, what is Professor Moll's favorite type of landslide?
And is it the one that is the flow of material downhill? When will that occur? It's not the test, it's just the reading. It's okay.
What's your favorite type of landslide is the official question. Whatever homework
Well-
Noelle is trying to finish.
Maybe
We know what
I'll
type of
modify the favorite type of mass movement. And it's not because it's called a creep, but I like it because
Okay.
it's slow moving.
Not because you like
Not
creeps.
scary.
Not because I like creeps.
Good, good.
But
good.
if you think about
On the
it,
record for that.
yeah, please put that on. Exclamation point that. But if you think about it, the creep movement is so subtle. Like, I worry about Arlington because they have all the headstones perfectly lined up, and if anything happens with that earth, they're not going to be perfectly lined up anymore. And being able to see when you have fence posts along a road and all of a sudden they're not perfectly straight anymore, because who's going to put up a fence that's not straight? I hope not. The OCD in me would kill me. But you see it start moving, and so you know, I mean, a lot of the things that I teach are stuff that happens over, we either have instant, where you've got a tornado that's, boom, done, or you've got 10,000s, millions, billions of years. And so being able to see this where suddenly, it's...
That's because it's the whole thing. Actually, yeah. So that's what happens when Arizona heat. But I have actually used it to say that it was. I used it in story. So one of the things I'll do is I'll get random props like this, and when something goes funny, I make it part of the story.
Yeah. No.
Like it was a warped gravity ruin kind of thing is what I think I had going on. But
Dr. Strange.
Or surface
yeah, yeah.
Or
so
surface
it could be
street. I mean,
surface
that's
street.
what-
Yeah, and if I guess if I set it up on the edge of something like a platform, it's like this could be hanging over the edge of a cliff or something.
Yeah.
With it like
Or
that.
just falling over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean,
that's nice.
I like them all. There's just so many different choices. But I think that one stands out the most to me because it's so subtle. It's not the big raging, mudslides and landfalls and stuff like that you see in California, but maybe it's because it's not dangerous.
Well, what's the scariest?
Oh, a lahar.
What's that?
That's the mud flow from a volcano.
Oh, that is scary.
And so you not only do it's usually when volcanoes erupt in the snow, and you've got all that snow or by a water source that adds water to the lava flow, and then it just
And it's fast.
It's very
Oh, that's
So
scary.
that so one
scary.
one in D&D sometimes what will happen is we'll use environmental factors like that either because it's a layer action for a special type of dragon or creature. You're allowed to play with them. That they're there for you to
yeah.
We
Right.
got some little
so-
guys. Do you want some little guys?
yeah.
We got a bear with shark.
Give her
hands.
give her a troll or a shark hand bear.
bear.
So so a Lahara, is that what it was? Lahar. And so it could be that like at the end of every combat round, if you're fighting a boss in kind of a muddy valley or cave or something, it could be or any whatever the terrain is, you could have this a certain percent chance that a Lahar would happen, and then the players would have to roll a dexterity check or be covered or yeah.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
It could also be a finishing move for a bad guy when they die. The play like it's just smashing into something that causes
Body
it.
turns to-
Yeah,
Water.
Noella.
Why does an avalanche happen when there's loud sound? Like when you yell at the ice, why does it fall down?
He gets scared.
It sounds like a
I
dad
love-
joke.
It sounded like there was a setup, like a
There's a
punchline.
setup.
It's not. This
Dad
is a
joke.
serious,
It's a serious
question that I
question.
need to know.
I believe it's due to the way, and help me out here, I'm a scientist too, the way snow particles are. So when you compact all of them together, you think of snow not being water droplets that become bigger water droplets. Snow on itself is the little crystalline structures, and so it's got a lot of space in those particles. And so when something happens, it vibrates within those spaces, breaking them loose from each other. And so that's why it falls down.
And chain
Like
reaction.
sound is really just like vibrating in the
Yeah.
air. Or
Ah!
something kind
Now,
of thing.
I
where-
I learned that from the Magic School Bus Halloween.
I like
episode.
the idea though. So in Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings series, he has
that
these things
guy.
called spren, which are meant to be like embodiments of like people's ideas about the creation and stuff. And so you can talk to them, and sometimes it's like at one point in the story, it's like it's almost like you could at the molecular level there are these little critters. But I like the idea of what you guys said of like it being like scared, like. There's maybe it's that whether we frame it in real life and say like we just don't have the tools to hear them talking, we won't do that. But in a fantasy realm, like you could have like snow, and it could be make a persuasion check to intimidate the snow so that they'll fall, or so that and like what would you say to them as opposed to it just being a physical thing? It's like personifying the snow.
Obviously, your stern look is strong.
Like into as a whole people group. So like when we talk about so you actually could go and a party could try and convince the snow to revolt against insert whatever the bad guy is. Yeah. And then so then like whether it's that they got shrunk really low and the party's like interacting with snow as if individual snow were individuals in society, and so they convince them to rebel or revolt, and the conclusion is then at the end the party gets big again and watches as like the avalanche happens to destroy a dragon. It could be a really nice like micro campaign inside a larger battle if you have players missing. I may have overdone this.
You said that movement's called a Lahar?
Well, not the avalanche, but
Oh, yeah,
the lava mudslide basically is a lahar.
Lahar.
It's gonna be in his next game.
Oh no, I'm so there. How do you survive that?
Killian, can I
You
quit
don't.
vampires?
Don't be there.
Because you can't
gotta
create the
fly.
space you can with snow.
avalanche, right, where
Yeah, an
you
avalanche you do the whole
cover,
like.
yeah.
When deciding how dangerous a volcano is, do they look at where water is and if a lahar can happen? When
Yeah.
deciding how serious is this volcano?
How deadly it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Ask Joe.
And they also even look at like when's the last time it's erupted, how much pressure is it? Is it
What kind of pudding?
If it's erupted recently,
viscosity?
is that scarier or safer?
Scarier.
Yeah. Like the sooner it happens, you're like, oh, it can happen again? Or is it like, oh, there's time before the next one?
I mean, some volcanoes are just dormant. Like they haven't had recorded activity. If it's got activity, it
Okay.
usually continues to have activity.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's gonna be
see.
mad for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I mean, Hawaii is a great example. Like it's been erupting like
constantly for
Mm.
20 years.
Yeah.
Like,
It'll go
at varying
quiet
levels,
for a
right?
little
That-
bit, where it's like,
It'll
okay,
take a
I'm
break,
break,
but it'll come back.
but I'm back again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So based on what they have shared with us so far, what's like one thing you can imagine working into a game, either for a character or what?
He's got Lahar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, he's got it.
I gotta get out of that bin.
I'm wondering if water breathing allows you
I'm
to
actually
breathe in a
busy
mudslide. But is
Yeah,
it like
armor
smoking
bells.
where it gets like tar on the inside?
Yeah,
Anyways.
right.
I mentioned it because you had the idea of like these, basically like taking the, what you call them, the Brandon Sanderson creatures.
Spren.
Spring.
Yeah.
Like they're manifestations of people's beliefs, and it made me think of like another article I'd read recently about like taking the mundane and making it fantastic. So somebody wrote an article about radio elementals, and they like just manifest in radio space and they mimic sounds they hear. The setting it was for is like 1920, so it's a lot of like.
The transatlantic accent.
Yeah, it's the transatlantic accent of like businessmen and then like singers. So they're often trying to convince you of something, but just this idea of like taking these forces and giving them like an intelligence. And the Lahar idea, I thought it'd be funny if like you can convince the snow particles. If you can upset them enough to trigger an avalanche, you could. I'm talking about volcano activity. Like, let's just give the volcano a tummy ache, so it just
Yes.
kills everybody that we don't want to deal with anymore. And
Or
then, like a Lahar.
The quest is to the townsfolk
Pepto-Bismol.
know this volcano is happening and don't know what to do, and the adventurers go in and find out it's literally the volcano with a tummy ache, and the quest is go find the equivalent of Pepto-Bismol, right?
Yeah.
Which would be what? For on the volcano side.
Ban?
I don't know if that's. I just realized like that might be outside the realm of what you guys do now that I think about it.
Is it
That's
possible
outside
to
of
make?
anything off the top of my
A
head.
It's not-
volcanic antacid? You know, no.
Well, it's
no?
like a giant fire. You could just put a lot of water.
What happens if you
And then
cool
make it
things
hard,
quickly
okay.
though? We might be getting into
You're fast
other.
enough.
I mean, pull the. I think you're gonna get obsidian and all those type of igneous rocks.
Yeah, I think it depended. If they had too much, like, because certain types of water magma interactions will lead to like more
Make it-
explosive
yeah,
volcanism, and
worse.
sometimes like you get like, for example, at like spreading ridges at the bottom of the ocean where you've got magma hitting like a lot of cold water, you just get like this
Pillow
pillow
basalts.
basalts,
Mm.
and that actually look
Yeah.
like little
Fluffies.
fluffy pillows, so they just cold so
That's
quickly
fun.
and
But
caught a lot
They
of
turn
fire.
into they turn into fluffy little rock creatures, right? And now you've created an entire like people
If it's
group
an oil
village inside the
volcano, you
volcano
have to
when the tummy
smother the
settles.
flames.
Yeah,
I mean,
but if you had water, it'll make it worse.
this is why I do this.
I think.
Said-
Okay, I think what I will use is kind of. I think in making infrastructure, like it's important to think about their environment, what they're near. Like not just like, oh, they're by an ocean, it's a fishing town. Like, how would that be built if it's based off of the water? What would the infrastructure look like there? Like, where's the water coming from? Or what if it's water on an asteroid? What is that sand stuff by it? And would people be able to build on that? Or even if I do choose to make the infrastructure this way, even though they're by a lake, like how would that affect the town? Would it make like tsunamis like really like destructive just because their infrastructure is incorrect for where they are? Or I think again it's really interesting, like if I had already established that this planet has really low gravity and not like any atmosphere, maybe a storm wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like maybe that isn't like a plot point that would be cemented in something realistic.
But it could be something where player knowledge, character knowledge gaps or player to character knowledge gaps could make for some really fun tension if the players don't know that that's what happens here, or if the characters, if there's like a subterranean people group that comes up and doesn't know that the atmosphere is the way it is, you know, so they think, it's like they think this big storm's coming, they see it from a distance, and then it just becomes like this light mist, but the whole time, but you guys know, but you know what players do when they think there's danger and there's no danger. Like, I had a farmer NPC, and they like didn't trust him, like he was just sitting in the woods eating food, and they had a campfire late at night, and they like,
Evil.
you must be evil. Is he a shape changer? Is he a demon?
And he had the key to the quest.
No. Yeah, he was just a random guy.
You gave him food, and
He was
they're
cool
like,
though, but
He's learned that mistake. He's had that mistake one too many times.
yeah.
Maybe if that storm is like a super meta thing.
yeah.
Storm comes in, and we have no visibility. We gotta stay inside and play D&D.
Yeah.
Sort of a game
What
inside of the game.
Yeah,
What do they-
exactly. A
what's
D&D
the-
episode in your D&D campaign.
What's the in game? Is it? It's like B. Is it B&B? Is that what it's? Is that what the like joke name for like an in game tabletop game is?
I think that's called a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Wow. No, but really, but no, I like. Actually, I do like that. It could be something like that.
Dungeons and
that's
more dungeons.
the same way we get with like sandstorms, right? That could be a fun plot point too. Yeah.
Right, 'cause, yeah, you wouldn't be able to see through the dark, right?
Yeah.
So dense, but you know, you
I
don't
think
worry
D&D
about
But
it.
then little Sally, the Dragonborn, runs out in because of her lost puppy, and we have to go find her. And so then it becomes a series of skill checks to perceive in spite of these things, but no actual danger.
I think D&D in a fantasy world would be like offices and school buildings.
Yeah, I was like, I think it's like some
Right?
like
Because everything's
Yeah.
everything fantastical is so normal.
Yeah.
Like something fantastical would be like,
Like
what if
boba
we
and
were all the
businessmen
same?
business people.
What if everything
Yeah.
was way more boring?
I know, right?
Let's see, we had one person. So Yoli said a creep landslide could be a fun D&D monster, like a
Very slow moving landslide. I like it.
but
Oh
like,
yeah, like it's
but
an
like
elemental,
purposeful.
and he's just
Like a
like,
bigger enemy
and then he has a
than-
weird
like
mustache.
yeah, yeah.
It's just like trying to take over like the entire town very slowly.
But it's very slow.
And it's like, you know, it's a generational game.
Yeah. That would be, yeah, it's like, or like, I like the idea of like embody, like something, like it used to be creep, and like it used to be mud and had this like slow moving thing, but then something happened where maybe it becomes invisible. Or like someone else turns
Oh,
into
that's
invisible,
scary.
or
Like you know it's
someone
coming, but you don't know when.
like,
It
yeah,
becomes karst topography, disappears for a bit, and then comes back out.
yeah. Or a wizard goes and changes its form so it's used to creeping and suddenly moves so much faster, but it takes so much intentionality that like when it goes to move fast, it's like and like yeah, I don't know. It could be fun.
When you mentioned the thing about like subterranean people emerging and freaking out seeing the storm, but then like it doing nothing. I thought you were. That's not the direction I thought you were going. I thought you were gonna go back to the supplement. Like these mole people on Mars gonna be like, yes, we.
Like with these water elementals that live underground, they go outside and they just go.
There you go. You can give them a whole quest
so
where the
sad.
players land on like a Mars
Oh.
like planet.
That's so
and the
sad.
elementals like, we want to see the surface, and then they just boil and freeze simultaneously in front of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Put that in my
Well, with that,
Noella
it's
is- she's got a face
5:45.
setting.
This has been a lot of fun. Are there any final thoughts from you guys as far as like what? Yeah, any final thoughts from you guys? Either science or fun related. Not that science isn't fun. I didn't mean to create a dichotomy. They're more like they're Venn diagrams. It's a Venn diagram of
Science and fun.
science and fun. There's a place where they overlap. There are lots of places where they overlap.
But by that you're implying there's places where they don't.
There are places where science is not fun and times where fun is not science.
That's subjective.
But that's
I think
debatable.
that's 100% true.
But if Venn diagrams are perception based, we'll move on. So final thoughts.
I just think it's awesome.
It's fun.
It's fun. Science is fun
That's true.
And real.
and real.
And fun to put into stories.
Remember, kids, science is real.
Its root meaning is knowledge.
Yeah, no, I think it's very interesting to kind of look at some of the overlaps of the different like disciplines and things and how they can relate to a lot of these things. Like I actually know some folks at my alma mater where I went to college that are actually doing this really integrative like tabletop gaming plus science and like a mission to Europa that's like part of the class that they're doing.
That's
and
fun.
it's all
That's so
built up
fun.
and designed like with the science in mind. Like there's like so many ways to like bridge it all together. So.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, just us sitting here, you're astronomy, I'm geography, and yet we're both talking about volcanoes, like it's the coolest thing
I know.
There are space
in the universe.
There
They're
are
on
space
top.
volcanoes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
space
volcanoes.
volcanoes.
Are they as
The volcano in
scary?
the solar system is on Mars.
Really?
It's the size of Arizona.
Whoa!
It's not active right now.
Oh,
Aw,
well,
man.
we pretty much live in a volcano anyway. So it's like,
Nice.
that's how it
Very
works.
It's the temperature of a volcano.
Yeah. Yeah, give or take a few thousand hundred.
You know, in the grand scheme of temperatures in the cosmos.
Basically.
We have one last question there. In a magical world, would a spell that changes temperature be able to solidify a Lennar monster?
Wait, read that
A
one?
Lahar monster. In a magical world, is there a spell that would change? Would a spell that changes temperature be able to solidify a Lahar monster, like a monster that is a Lahar?
I don't see why not. Maybe one of those elementals.
You'd have to look at the rate of the reaction and
Yeah.
how quickly it can
How
change
powerful is that
temperature
spell?
and,
Maybe it
What
could, like,
level do they
shield
cast
power.
it at?
Yeah. Does it make you a little
Thermal
chilly, or
heat
does it
to,
send the world
Maybe
into
it
an
would
ice
like the
age?
surface, and then you have the surface, which would give you time to run,
Right.
and then it would break through the surface after a certain amount of time.
I like that. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, and it would also depend on the spell. Like, is it like an object or is it like a beam? Because a beam, like you were saying, it just hit it and then solidify it, and then the rest would just be the same
Yeah,
temperature.
same.
But if it like attached to an object or a thing,
Like heat metal?
Like it radiated out.
yeah, if it did it all at once or at a fast enough pace to where it would like, it maybe.
Like I'm thinking a shield spell that
Yeah.
would like crust the crust of it.
Yeah, but the rest would be the
But
same.
the rest would be breaking through that.
Yeah.
I like this. Cool. All right. Well, for the sake of time, thank you again for coming and hanging out with us and having conversations. It's so much fun to get you guys in here. And yeah.
In which
So hopefully we can do this more. But for now, we'll say we're done for today. Is there anything? What class do you have classes coming up next semester you want to plug right now for these 4 to 10 people who watch this? It might be. I mean, I'm getting almost to 500 subscribers, but how many of them actually will watch this particular
That
piece?
works.
Do you have?
Well, we have Intro to Physical Geography, so if you want to learn more about lahars and volcanoes and all of that, there's 3 modalities. There's in-person 16 weeks, online 16 weeks, and online 8 weeks. So there's those. And then
Options.
there's Intro to Meteorology, which unfortunately is just in person. That's it. But that is 1 day a week on Mondays. I know, of course, there's the geology classes. I don't teach those, but we are bringing back GIS, intro to GIS, so that'll be on the docket for next
Geographic
semester.
information.
I know we've got learning communities with Tom and
Yes,
geology.
Tom's doing
Yeah.
the English and physical geography as well.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, so we have Introduction to Solar System Astronomy. AST 111. I know I've seen somebody already on my roster there.
No
So we do that in a hybrid format. So it meets once a week with equivalent online. I also do a fully in-person section of that now, which counts as a writing certified class. Anybody that's doing that designation. We also that class does like a citizen science project. I actually get to do some real science. Contribute to a research project through that. I also teach a Life in the Universe, AST 106, online. And
Pick them all.
I wanted to take that, but
Yeah.
I can't do online. I have to.
Yeah.
and then so
It's okay, I have
elsewhere
the
in
textbook,
astronomy,
though.
we also have AST 112, Introduction to Stars, Galaxies, and Cosmology, which I think is also available in both in-person and hybrid formats.
Not to be confused with cosmetology.
Cosmetology, very different. Astrology, very different. But yeah,
All right.
lots of fun things coming up.
Thanks. All right.